Hi everyone. Today I'm playing against a 2000 rated chess.com bot, and I will be referencing a QA checklist and the Principles cheat sheet. I published both of these on Medium and will link them in the video and description. Under normal circumstances, as a 1700 rated player, I would be very unlikely to beat a 2000 rated bot, but with the help of this QA checklist and Principles cheat sheet, it is a realistic goal. As we strive to improve our chess ratings, we fall prey to mistakes and blunders and make tactical errors. The QA and checklist that I'm using will help avoid those. Cheating against the bot isn't ethically dubious because I'm just practicing against a computer. I would never do this against an actual human opponent. But I wanted to make this video to demonstrate the effectiveness of a QA checklist and commitment to principles. Once these are memorized, I should naturally be able to play at this level. So let's play against Lee. Her rating is 2000. Challenge, no help of any kind, and random color. Okay, I'm gonna use the Sicilian defense because statistically that has a high win percentage for black. So right now, as we're getting past some of the textbook openings, I'm um, I'm just focused on developing my pieces. I have two center pawns, whereas she only has one. But at the same time, it looks like she's gonna castle much earlier than me. Um, I'll move my knight out to a decent position, and it threatens her pawn here. In defending it, she's also developing. Um, so we're getting into the middle game soon, and that's when I'll start relying on the QA checklist more. Um, she castles. I'm gonna put my bishop here to pin her knight, and I'm gonna try something. Her bishop's in a decent position. Like it's pretty much like a beam towards my king direction. She moves the pawn out. I'll move it back. It's not great to move the pawns that are like protecting your king forward. Um, but of course, there are exceptions. Okay, she moved her bishop out. I'm gonna move my knight here. And what I'm gonna try to do is move my knight here. Her knight is pinned, and her queen is there. So it's gonna lead to something that's slightly favorable for me. And by that I mean either a doubled up pawn or an exchange where I take her bishop in exchange for my knight. And on the list of chess principles that I have, that's a favorable exchange for me. I think she just threw a wrench in my plans, though. Hmm. I don't have many great ideas now, so I'm gonna push her bishop out. Pre-move checklist. Review what your opponent's move is, and think about what they're trying to do before I make a move. You know, look at whether I'm leaving a piece hanging for free in the next move or through a sequence. She does this, which is pretty good. I'm gonna move my queen here. Review whether I leave myself vulnerable for a check or checkmate in the next opponent move or through a sequence that I can't stop. And with every move, think about whether I improve my position, whether the move violates any of the chess principles, and if so, is there a good reason for it? And I should be looking for forcing moves that includes checks, captures, and threats. So right now I'm going through the QA checklist. I'm making sure I don't end up in a material disadvantage. Um, and I'm looking for opportunities to create a material advantage for myself. So right now I have two pieces that are attacking this pawn. She only has one knight protecting it. So she's either gonna do something about this pawn over here, or she's gonna put me in a similar threat. Right now I think I have superior positions. I have two center pawns, she has one, and she moved some of her pawns out here, which isn't great defensively for her king. So it's a tight game right now. I think it's an issue of who makes more mistakes. Okay, so she moved her knight here. My queen is vulnerable. That's the biggest red mark. So I'll take the knight because I don't want to lose my bishop either. So now it's a question of what does she take my knight with, and she ended up taking with the queen. That's what I expected least. I'm gonna move my knight here and threaten her queen. Um, if she moves it like here and like threatens it back, I'll just move it back to the safer square. Oh wow, incredible! She left a piece hanging. So she left her bishop hanging. Um, um, but it looks like she has a plan to just like push my queen out, and then she'll probably take the knight. Um, I think things are lighting up for me to start accumulating though. And I'm not sure why it actually takes time for these bots to move because they're bots. Uh, okay. Um, I'm gonna start putting my pieces into safer squares right now, and already I have a decent material advantage, so I didn't anticipate that. We're still in the middle game. Huh. Okay, I get to take a free pawn. It's getting a little scary, but it's still fine. The danger with a 2000 rating player like her is I could be diligently going through my pre-move checklist and following my principles cheat sheet. But like at a certain level, there's just like Um, there are like multiple step sequences that they can execute that might fly over my head at this level. But overall, I should be fine. So she moves a pawn here. One of the few things I could do is just move my queen back here. Yeah, she violated quite a lot of principles. I'm not exactly sure why. Um, she got aggressive with her pawns here. She just left her king hanging. Um, she let me take a couple of her pieces for free, but those are like mistakes and blunders. Those are like understandable. I would think that a computer at her level would make less of them, but mistakes and blunders are always understandable. Um, and they end up costing you more games than like poor positioning does. I'm gonna get a little aggressive here because I can afford to. Um, that's not very like sound logical thinking. But I do it sometimes. It's not completely sound and logical because no matter what, you should be making just like the most effective, efficient moves. It doesn't matter if you can afford to do this or afford to do that. She moves the queen here, and she's basically offering an exchange. It is pinned, so I guess I should just my king's queen king like ping there here. I should just take it, even though she's gonna end up taking with this pawn and forcing me to move my knight out. Like why wouldn't I do that? I'm gonna move my knight here. Um, I'm going through the QA checklist. I'm making sure I'm not leaving any pieces hanging for free. I don't want to make the same mistake she made. Over here, she's occupying an open file with her rook, which is good for her. And now she just moved it to the seventh file, which is really good for her. And it's a fork. She's either gonna take my bishop or take my pawn. So um, not great for me. I'll move my bishop here. It's not a super dangerous position. I guess she could move her knight here, but I'm gonna have to focus on a couple of things before addressing that. Oh, she does it immediately. I'll move my bishop here. Um, so she'll either take this pawn or she'll move her rook here and threaten my center pawn. She takes the pawn. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this pawn, threaten her knight. She's forced to move it. Or she takes it with, yeah, she's forced to move it. Um, that's extremely interesting. She took a pawn with a knight. So I'll go back to my checklist. Uh, what are they trying to do? So let's think through this for a second. If I take her knight with my pawn, does it leave me vulnerable anywhere? Okay, I see. So if I take her knight, she takes my knight here. Doesn't seem like I'm threatened with check anywhere. Nothing catastrophic is gonna happen. She just takes my knight. But she will have a passed pawn here. So I'm gonna have to think of addressing it somehow. So I take, she takes. Oh, yeah, I take, she takes. What will I do? Okay, I'll move my bishop here. Um, to threaten her rook immediately. If she moves her rook back, I have two rooks and a king to put into action. One of the principles is to exchange pieces when you're ahead in material value, and try to avoid pawn exchanges because that increases the likelihood of a draw. So I'll do the exchange and I'll focus on making sure this pawn situation doesn't turn into a huge catastrophe. I'll take this pawn that's just hanging about. I have a bishop here. That tends to be pretty valuable, especially in this kind of game. The board's kind of open, so bishops are like they can be much more effective than knights in these kind of situations. She has a passed pawn here. Okay, and it's getting a bit worrisome right now. Yeah. Okay. Immediately, I'm gonna start addressing it. Hmm. So first order of business is I'll move my bishop here. If she moves here, I take it. She's likely to protect it with one of her rooks. This pawn is her only hope right now, and I have to make sure that I do something about it. Boom, threaten it immediately. She's gonna put her rook into play or one or her bishop. Um, she puts her bishop here because if I take this bishop, I take, she takes. Oh, okay, I'll have time to do something about it. To do something about it. Hmm. What is my opponent trying to do? If she moves her bishop here, I can just move this pawn here. She can double up the rooks, but I have two bishops to just um like have indirect protection. I'm gonna move my bishop here, so it simultaneously protects two pawns. This pawn is just like hanging there, and she's just not taking it. I'm gonna threaten her rook. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a worthwhile exchange for her. She lost the rook, and now she's gonna like she took one of my rooks, but she's gonna lose this pawn. And I have these two bishop laser beams right now. I'll take this to eliminate the threat. Yeah, I can start working through a checkmate right now. She does this. I'll move the pawn here. I'll protect my bishop. I'm gonna. I have an opportunity to do a cool trick where I'll be able to take the rook. But that depends if she moves like either the rook out of the way or the king out of the way or not. And yeah, she does move it out of the way. Um, check. It's always good to look for check. It's not always the best possible move, but in general, it tends to be good to look for check. Check. Okay. I think I understand. She's trying to force a draw. That's silly. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna settle for a draw. I had to restart the recording because the clip champ stops recording at the 30-minute mark. So this is technically the second video. Um, I'm gonna just keep pushing this pawn. She takes. I take. Yeah, checkmate is pretty much inevitable here. Check, check, check. And the only thing I have to be careful of here is making sure I don't end up in something that's like technically a draw. Check. Okay, next move is checkmate. Uh, boom. Let's click game review because it seemed like she was playing lower than 2000. I don't know how that's possible. Okay, so she was playing at a 2050 rating, um, which is really strange because it felt like a game against the 1700 human opponents I usually play. But I think that's because I was playing really slowly and I kept using the QA checklist and the principles cheat sheet. And the idea is to eventually just like make those muscle memory. And when that happens, I should be playing around this level naturally. So 2300 is like expert level. And I guess that's my potential if I memorize the QA checklist and the principles cheat sheet. Um, and I think this is just really good practice to follow, and it's a good argument in favor of doing that kind of study because most people um, can't readily commit the time to read actual chess books. So just studying principles cheat sheet and having a QA checklist. I think those are better and more efficient. And then once you reach a certain level, it's that's I guess when people start studying advanced chess theory. So thank you for watching the video. I think um, this was like an interesting thing for like training perspective.